You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another episode of Dan's Picks, the series where Super Dantastic picks a movie that he's seen and I haven't for me to watch and review. And this time, as the title of the video implies, I'll be talking about The Raid 2. Many years ago, when the first Raid movie came out, I watched it and I loved it. The first one was about a group of special operatives going in and raiding, I can't remember if it was a hotel or an apartment complex, but either way, it was a big building with different rooms that was full of different criminals. Well, this follows one of the main characters from the first movie as he tries to bring down corruption in both the police force and local politics, as well as to help bring down an organized crime syndicate that is tied to this corrupt politician. To do this, he has to get himself arrested and go to prison and cozy up to the son of said politician. He gets pulled into it, gains their trust, and begins to try and bring them down from the inside by gathering evidence. That's what the plot primarily focuses on. The movie itself is incredibly over-the-top violent, and I love that. Like, there is a lot of fight and action scenes, but they are much more violent than I expected, which, again, was a positive for me. This is an Indonesian movie, and I, of course, watched the original Indonesian language track. I had no intention of watching it dubbed, however, there is a dub that does exist. As I am fascinated with the concept of crime, especially organized crime, I loved every aspect of that involved in this movie. Speaking of the whole English-Indonesian thing, there was one part where they're talking to these Japanese characters, and all of a sudden, mid-sentence, they all switch to speaking English, and then they go right back to speaking Indonesian and Japanese. I never got why Asian movies have a tendency to just randomly switch to English. I am aware that most Asians do speak English, and not all of them speak each other's languages, so sometimes that's used to kind of be like a language barrier breaker. But that didn't seem to be the case in this movie. It was just kind of random, kind of like in anime when you'll get characters that randomly speak English. The main character is a total badass. I mean, he is super fast at fighting. It's ridiculous. Like, 15 guys come at him while he's in prison, and he just fucks them up. Like, he slams this guy into a toilet, he punches and kicks the shit out of all of them. And there's like all sorts of shootout scenes towards the end, and they get fucking crazy. It's pretty great, because there's a lot of like high-octane action in this. Lots of like gunshots, fist fights, and all sorts of stuff in between. I'm gonna try to avoid being spoilery for this, so I'm not gonna go over the ending and the different aspects of that, but it is a great movie overall, all the way through. It's a pretty long movie, about 2.5 hours or so, which is a pretty good length, I think, because it's long enough to get the story across, but I never felt like it dragged, because like I said, it's fast-paced the whole time. And honestly, if it had been shorter, they might have left things out. I always feel that a movie needs to be the length it needs to be, you know what I mean? As long as it's not too long or too short and it gets everything across, it's great. And this movie does just that. I honestly couldn't remember enough of the first Raid movie to tell you which one I preferred. I think they were both equally great from what I recall, but either way, you should check this one out, because it is a great sequel, if not superior. Like I said, I can't say for sure. I'd say they're about neck and neck. They're pretty even, but this is a great sequel, and it's a great follow-up. I love it when a sequel is able to do the original justice. And from what I've heard, they're supposedly working on a third one, and I can't wait to see that as well. I was worried that this would just be like a rehash where they go on another raid, but no, it's not that at all. In fact, it's not a raid at all. It's just a guy who infiltrates organized crime and tries to bring them down from the inside, which is something I've always been a fan of, which is why I like series like 91 Days and the like. Overall, I'd say The Raid is a good solid 10 out of 10. I honestly couldn't think of anything wrong with it. Now, granted, I tend to like to give things credit. I can't think of any faults in it. If you can, of course, do let me know your opinion on the matter, but I honestly thought it was a great movie. But anyway, I guess that's really all I have to say about The Raid 2. This has been Fugitive Red Eye, and have a great day.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.